People are at the heart of everything we do, and we have a relentless focus on Goal Zero. We are refreshing our approach to safety to save lives and prevent life-altering injuries. This is underpinned by our ongoing practice with learner mindset, human performance, and psychological safety in teams. To strengthen how we apply the human performance principles day to day, we have focused in on how leaders respond to failure matters and created clear guidance on what we call fair event handling. It is essential to how we prevent serious harm to people. It takes leaders and workforce to talk together about how work really happens. Difficult conditions and error-prone situations are always present in our work. How can leaders respond supportively to bad news to help uncover these factors? Only 30% of human error causes relate to individual mistakes. Fair event handling means taking a whole systems approach, not only focusing on individuals, but examining systemic causes and external factors, and addressing systemic weaknesses and ensuring conditions enable compliance. Take this example based on real events. 2 grads are on site during a turnaround and ask for access to a vessel. The watchman grants access and the grads go in. Confined space entry is a high-risk task, given that there could be any number of health hazards inside that vessel. Proper training is essential. Now let's look at a few more details. We start to see how easily well-intentioned individuals can act or fail to act in a way that leads to a serious incident. The watchman had in fact asked if the grads had training. And though the grads did not, what was going through their heads were the words of their manager, who, thinking of the great opportunity a turnaround offers, had encouraged them and even said, "Get inside as many vessels as you can." Despite the watchman's training and greater level of experience, he still did not feel able to challenge the view of staff. How would you as a leader respond to a situation like this? Local judgment is always required owing to the very specific details of individual cases, and of course any disciplinary measures need to be in line with local HR policy. Looking at the interactions of all the individuals involved, in this case there were 3 parties. First, the graduates. Their non-compliance was categorized as optimizing for organizational benefit. It's worth noting, they did not lie about not having training. Yet apparently the watchman allowed his perception of their status as owner employees and their enthusiasm to enter the vessel to override his own experience and knowledge. As follow-up, a conversation with the grads was held to let them know that when direction is given that goes against the rules, personal accountability to do the right thing must first generate a deeper dialogue, and no one acts until everyone is clear. For the wider site, the lesson around perceived hierarchy generating mistakes became a broader organizational conversation in all teams. For the watchman, the non-compliance is classified as weak supervision and leadership, given that he knew the graduates didn't have training, but let them in anyway. This would most likely lead down a formal disciplinary path, noting that the watchman is not a company employee, so any disciplinary action to be taken by the contractor would be in line with their own policies and may take into account the watchman's past performance. Finally, the managerial accountability of the supervisor was addressed, the emphasis being on the importance of care in choice of language to create absolute clarity on staff performance and behavior. In other words, framing the opportunity to learn around the turnaround, but avoiding misunderstandings arising from the perceived instructions. 3 steps are important to creating the conditions that people feel safe and responsible to speak up and that enable us to help each other comply with rules and procedures. Setting the stage means framing expectations and sharing purpose. Inviting participation is by showing humility, be interested to inquire for everyone's views and opinions, listen intently, and generally create moments for people to input, and respond productively to all learnings. This is a day-to-day practice to continuously improve our work, not just when things go wrong. Fair event handling, therefore, must be embedded in the way work is done. Together, we can drive consistency in the way we respond to adverse HSSE events with a learner mindset and embed fairness into the way work is done. Leaders set clear performance standards, consider the whole system, and acknowledge that context drives a full spectrum of types of human behavior, from exemplary at one extreme to violations at the other. Create the conditions that people feel safe and responsible to speak up, and identify appropriate improvement actions for all non-compliance categories, which include a minority of occasions where there is a need for formal consequence management. This is a key part, not just of how we focus our Goal Zero efforts, also on how we show up as leaders, reflecting who we are and how we lead. You will find easy access to the FAIR event handling requirements and various ways to find support, both with engaging on this and accessing support to resolve the dilemmas that will arise in dealing with real events. Please use all available sources and contribute yourself to this journey. Above all, our goal is to prioritize learning, always do the right thing, and reduce the likelihood of repeat events.